Hey guys, welcome back. It is Christian here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. So today it is Friday. So of course we will be doing another Foundation Friday. Today we're going to be testing out the new Sephora Make No Mistake a Foundation Plus Concealer Stick. Now this is of course by the Sephora brand and it does retail for 20 bucks, and I was super intrigued and super excited to try this foundation out. I have a very love-hate relationship with stick foundations. More often than not, I do not like them. My two favorite stick foundations to date are the Makeup Forever stick foundation and the Hourglass. There's just something about those formulas that are creamy, that are blendable, that just give you the perfect amount of coverage and that work really well for more dry to combination skin. So as of right now to date, those are the best ones that I have found for my skin type, which of course is a little bit more dry combination like I just mentioned. We're going to put this to the test. It does claim to be good for all different skin types. It also does claim to be a matte finish, which I don't mind a matte finish as long as it's not one of those super drying, cakey, like sucks the life out of my skin. Matte foundations actually can be really, really beautiful on the skin. It just depends on how matte is, you know what I mean? If you are not familiar with Foundation Friday, it is basically where I put a new foundation to the test. Every single week I wear it throughout the day and then I come back and I let you know how the foundation is wearing, how it is holding up. You know, it is about 100 degrees right now here in Texas, so these foundations have a lot to go through. If you have skin like mine, which is a little bit more dry, sensitive, and it does lean a little bit oily, especially as the day wears on, then my Foundation Friday series might be a good one for you. I will link my entire playlist down below, and there's probably a good 30 foundations in there. I want to say probably. There's been a lot. We've been doing it for a while, so hopefully you decide that you want to stick around. I do post between 4 and 5 videos every single week here on my channel, so there is a lot of different things happening, a lot of hauls, a lot of makeup. I'm starting to dabble in fashion, so I feel like you might find yourself having a good time here if you do decide to stick around and hit that subscribe button down below. And if you are not new to my channel, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to join and support. You know the drill with Foundation Fridays. Let's just go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so today we're going to be trying out the Sephora Make No Mistake Foundation and Concealer Stick. I did pick mine up in the shade 04 Oak. And of course this is a foundation stick. It does come with 11.6 grams of product or 0.41 ounces of product, which is pretty standard for a stick foundation. There are stick foundations that have a little bit more. There are stick foundations that have a little bit less. Okay, so of course this is by the Sephora brand, so this is going to be a Sephora exclusive. It does retail for $20 and it does come in 16 different shades. So far on Sephora's website, it does have 4 stars with 41 reviews, so that's pretty decent. It says that it is a medium coverage foundation. It is good for a normal dry combination and oily skin, and it does provide a matte finish to the face. So basically it says, there's not a lot of information, but basically it says it's a medium to full coverage foundation and concealer stick with a natural matte finish. It says that this 2-in-1 multitasker can be used as both a foundation and a concealer. This creamy formula does not settle into fine lines and wrinkles, and its stick format is perfect for easy on-the-go application. And that is pretty much all it says. Let's go ahead and open it up because I haven't even opened it yet. Nothing too special about the packaging, but I feel like I can't complain too much because it's only a $20 foundation, which is not bad. This is what the shade looks like that I picked up. Today we are not going to go in with a beauty blender or a beauty sponge because I've just over time have learned that for me stick foundations just work better with brushes, so I just don't even feel the need to attempt to do it with the beauty blender because because a lot of times stick foundations tend to be a little thicker. They're just better to blend with a brush. I just feel that's just my preferred method with stick foundations. So today, normally I would do half and half, but today we're going to go all brush. Maybe I will try out 2 different brushes, but we'll see. I have been switching up my primers recently, so I will be using the Marc Jacobs Undercover Perfecting Coconut Face Primer for a little bit of hydration, and today you are used to seeing me using the Tarte Clean Slate Primer, but over the past week I have been reaching for the Dior Pore Maximizer Skin Refining Matte Primer. I have already prepped my skin, so I'm going to go ahead and go in with my primers, and then we will give this foundation a try today. The brush that I'm going to go ahead and try today first is the Morphe M439. We'll see how this works. If I don't like the way that this brush is applying the product, then I will definitely try out a different one. But this is usually the brush that I do tend to like for stick foundation, so we will try it out. That is the color that I chose, and that looks like it's going to be a pretty decent color match. It looks like it's going to blend into the skin pretty nicely. You can almost barely see it on my hand. Yeah, I think I might have done really well with the color matching this time. Let's hope so. Hopefully it doesn't end up going gray on my skin. I'm going to let the primer sit in for just another second. All right, so I got a pretty decent amount of product on the skin. Let's go ahead and blend it in. It's blending pretty decently. It blends better than, say, for example, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Stick Foundation, but it's not as creamy as, say, the Hourglass Stick Foundation. I mean, that's pretty solid coverage right there. I would definitely say that that is medium coverage. We're going to check to see in these areas right here where I do have a lot more breakouts, if we can get that to a little bit more of a full down right in here. But I will definitely say that that is a pretty good medium coverage out of the gate. I can already tell you I don't know that this is going to be good for dry skin because it is on my forehead. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is already clinging to dry patches up in this area. It's not blending smoothly. As always, I do always exfoliate before Foundation Friday to get rid of any dead skin that might be on my skin or to try to help with any dry patches. So I always exfoliate and I always apply a hydrating mask beforehand. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before, but just to give the foundations the best possible chance, I fully prep my skin in ways that I would not necessarily do like on the day-to-day. If the foundation typically doesn't work on Foundation Friday, that just means it's probably not going to work a lot of times. But the coverage is pretty good. It blended pretty decently and the color match is actually really nice as well. I would try my Sigma F80 to see which is more of a buffer brush, but I can't seem to find that one right now. It's grown legs and run away. So it doesn't feel powdery or anything like that. So, and it, as of right now, it doesn't feel fully matte either. So we'll see if it needs to dry down a little bit more. But what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is where I have these extra breakouts right here, we're going to try to cover that up a little bit. And then something I don't normally do, I don't typically bring foundation too close to my eye because I notice that it gets cakey, but since it claims to be a concealer and foundation in one, I'm going to go ahead and bring a little bit into the inner corner of my eye and then just kind of blend it out underneath my eye. I guess since I'm using the same brush, I could have kind of just gone all in at once, but I guess so you guys can see the before and after a little bit. I mean, that's pretty decent coverage. It does look a little cakey underneath the eye. I don't think I would use it as a concealer, or if you're going to use it as a concealer, maybe try using it as a concealer with a beauty blender underneath the eye instead of a brush. I'm not really enjoying the way it's looking under there. But this is what this half of the face looks like. It definitely has some active little tiny baby breakouts. It's a little weird. I don't know what's going on, but let's go ahead. I applied a little bit more to this side of the face and this side of the face. I'm going to see if we can just get this straight to a full coverage just on the first go. So I'm not loving the foundation as of right now. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look the best. Now the coverage is pretty good. So a couple of the reasons I don't like it, and I think this is showing up pretty true to in camera. Can you guys see how it looks on the forehead, on the chin, and on the nose? It's like the product is almost separating a little bit. It's looking very powdery on the face in certain areas. Can you see that? I'm not super impressed with this right now, I will be honest. I would say that it's pretty good coverage. I would say that you could definitely build this up to a full coverage, especially if you really want it to. I'm not enjoying the way my skin is looking right now. But like I mentioned, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup off camera. It is currently at 12:04 and I will be back in just a little bit. All right guys, and I am back. It is currently It is currently 12:53, so we're just gonna call it 1 o'clock. It's been about an hour since I first applied the foundation, and I do have all of my makeup on now. Now, I will say that once I went in with concealer, bronzer, and everything like that, the foundation actually doesn't look super bad on the skin. The one thing that I will say is the closer that I looked, and I went in with a pretty decent amount of product in these areas right here, you can still see a redness. You can still see my breakouts kind of peeking through. So that is the one negative. That is the one downside. It has not oxidized. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It doesn't feel overly matte. None of my pores are accentuated. It looks like the dryness has kind of, it's not as bad as it was when I first applied it. Maybe it's one of those formulas that need to kind of mesh with the warmth of your skin and to kind of melt everything in to make it look nice. The forehead also does not look as bad as it did when I first applied the foundation. I guess the bronzer, and I did put a little concealer over top to kind of help blend things out, and I don't think it looks bad. The under eyes still look a little bit, they do look a little bit on the cakier side. I don't think it's a full enough foundation to cancel out darkness underneath the eyes. I do think it's something that you would definitely have to color correct. I would just skip using it as a concealer, to be completely honest, and just use your regular concealers underneath the eye. I mean, other than that, not a lot else to report. I do think that the makeup actually does look pretty decent, and I do think that the foundation, I was concerned, but I do think as of right now, it looks pretty okay. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in, go about the rest of my day. You know the drill with that one, and then I will check back in with you throughout the day. All right, so here we are a little bit closer up. So hopefully you can kind of see what I'm talking about as far as like the acne spots and things like that still kind of being visible, and that it doesn't look like a super full coverage foundation in certain areas of the skin. I don't think it's like a bad skin day or anything like that. I do think that my makeup still looks pretty fresh. I don't feel like it's like a super matte finish. I would say that it's more of like a natural finish, so I'll be curious to see if it dries down a little bit more as the day wears on. But again, it's already been on for an hour, so if it was going to dry down super matte, I feel like it would have done that by now. Like, I thought when I first applied it, I thought that this was about to be like the most horrible makeup day ever, but I feel like it's a pretty good one. I've been testing out ways to kind of help my smile lines from creasing super quickly, and I did apply that technique today, and I noticed that it is helping the longevity of my smile lines before they start to get really, really bad. So we'll see how that wears throughout the day. So nothing too bad to report. Yeah, you guys, I will check back in with you, I guess, in a couple of hours, and we'll see how things are doing then. Bye, guys. Hey, guys, so I'm back. It hasn't been very long since my initial check-in. I was out running some errands. It is currently, I don't know if you can tell, but it's currently about 3:07. It is hot. It is 97 degrees outside right now with a heat index of 108. I've been out of the house for about 2 hours, and me and this foundation have already been through it because it is ridiculously hot. With that being said, I do feel like it's holding up pretty decent. 3 hours of wear is not exactly like the longest amount of time. I mean, that's not the best of tests, but it is hot out here. You know how it'll feel so hot that you feel like you can't even breathe, like you're suffocating because it's so hot? I'm kind of having one of those moments right now. I'm sitting in my car. I'm stopping at my sister's house just to say hi to my nieces, and then I'm gonna head back home. I've got a lot of filming to do today. I just really wanted you to see how everything was looking in natural light, because the chances of me coming outside again once I get home are like slim to none, because it is ridiculous. The fact that I'm even sitting in my car right now filming this is also a little bit crazy because it's hot. It is hot. It is hot. Everything looks pretty much exactly like it did when I applied it, so there's not a whole lot to report. I just really wanted to make sure that I just really wanted to make sure that you guys got a good look in natural daylight. I mean, like I mentioned, it's a little dark underneath my under eyes. I wouldn't recommend using this as a concealer, but I already said that. Other than that, everything else is holding up pretty nicely, and I will check back in with you guys in a few hours. Bye, guys. Hey, guys, and I am back. It is currently, what time is it? It is currently at 10:10. So I've had this foundation on for a full 12 hours. I have not touched up per usual. I have not done anything to the face. So you can see me in all of my oily, shiny goodness. So we're gonna go ahead because I just kind of have to. We're gonna take my Kat Von D blotting powder, which I did mention in a video that I filmed today, and I'm gonna kind of just blot everything, all the oils. So that is how great this powder is. I really love this powder. You can see my face is now 100% completely matte again, but it was an oil slick. So I don't even truly feel like that was a matte foundation, if you want me to be completely honest. I thought that the foundation was gonna, like, what is the word I'm looking for? it was very spotty in the beginning, and then after I had all of my makeup on, I was like, you know what, this is actually not so bad. And then now, after being outside and having to try out a bunch of outfits, sitting in front of these hot lights for a good majority of the day, you know, I changed my clothes several times because I filmed a try-on haul earlier today, and that's hot, that's sweaty, these lights get hot after, you know, an hour or so of sitting in front of them. So I will say that this foundation went through a pretty good ringer, and now that I've blotted, it doesn't look horrible. There are areas of the face where I'm kind of like, it could be better, but you know what? It's not bad. Right in this area, it looks a little suspicious, it looks a little suspect, but everywhere else, it looks pretty decent. So, yeah, and I got super oily throughout the day, so, which is not, I mean, it was really hot and I was like putting in work. So I think that the foundation, I know that there is not a lot of good reviews about this foundation, but I think it could be a lot worse, you guys. Like I mentioned earlier, it didn't cover up everything I would have liked to cover up, but it also hasn't worn down. And you know, when I blotted, now that I've blotted, I feel like I could go another couple of hours with my makeup the way it is. It is getting, like I mentioned, it is getting weird in this area, but it's not terrible. Let me go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can kind of see what I see. So here I am, of course, a little bit closer up, and you can see in areas like right in here, it looks a little funny, like right here. You know, but it doesn't look terrible. 12 hours and it was 107 degrees outside. Granted, I was only outside running errands for like 2 or 3 hours, and then I immediately came indoors, you know, with the AC and stuff. But I feel like, ooh, even the eyeshadow is holding up pretty good today. Hey, okay. I feel like I could go out for a little while longer and just kind of, you know, if I wanted to spruce things up. I feel like this makeup look for the most part is still holding strong. The forehead, like how I showed you guys earlier today, how the forehead just looked horrible, it really doesn't look that bad anymore. Like, it's starting to splotch off in certain areas. The cheek area, like right in this area, still looks exactly the way it did the moment I applied it. Same thing for this side. I mean, I do wish, like I mentioned, we had gotten a little bit more coverage. You know, with the exception of getting extremely oily throughout the day, it did not oxidize. It didn't break down a lot. Now that I've blotted, I think everything for the most part looks pretty decent on the skin. I didn't mind it. Initial application, we'll see how it wears, but I think the makeup looks pretty good right now. I don't know. What do you guys think? Definitely impressed me a little bit more than I thought it was going to. If you have, I definitely think that it could work for dry skin as well. Maybe, depending on how well you exfoliate and how hydrating of a primer that you put on. Oily skin, I mean, y'all, I was a bit of an oil slick at the end of the night, you guys. So that's a little, I'm gonna say that's a little touch and go as well. I'm not gonna give it like my stamp of approval just yet. I'm gonna test this one out for a couple more days and kind of see. I'm gonna try it out with my tried and true primers to see if I can get a little bit more from it. But if you blot it throughout the day, if you maybe if I had put on a matte primer, oh my god, a matte primer, I know, I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. It might have been okay. It doesn't look bad to me. Let me know down below what you think. It's definitely not my most earth-shattering favorite foundation, but I'm not mad. Like, I mean, everything on my face, my brows still look, you know, put on, my eyeshadow looks still pretty good. I threw on some gloss, you know, my lipstick didn't make it throughout the day. I just threw on some gloss before I started recording. Until I did the blotting, I hadn't done anything else. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Kind of put this one in the maybe pile, test it out a little bit more, and I will update you either down below or in a later video. So yeah, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on Monday. Bye, guys.